Hello YouTube and welcome back to reviews by Little Wixie Games. Today again we're going to be doing some reviews. This time it's technically a review, it's not a full review. Basically it's like a question kind of review. Because I see loads of people on the internet saying, well, and I'm probably going to get a bit of hate for this, but I wanted to like narrow it down a bit to some people. That, oh yeah, the Xbox One has more power than the PS4, or something like that, or works graphically better. And this is fact, does not. The slogan that PlayStation say, the PS4 is the world's most powerless games console, is true. And I am going to prove this in some videos. Or these videos, sorry, or this video, sorry. I am actually going to prove this. Basically, let's narrow it down. Right. So, CPU, they don't have a direct, like, thing, but they say that's pretty much on par with each other. It's around 1.75 or 1.7 gigahertz, and it's in an 8-core processor. And it's an AMD Jaguar based, etc. I won't go too much into that. Now, the GPU is the big difference, and the Xbox One does have one advantage with its GPU, but it doesn't mean anything. It really doesn't. Because mainly cores, as I know of, so don't quote me on this again, but mainly as I know of, cores will be the best like type of thing to help. Basically, the difference between the Xbox One and the PS4 is that if you look at their GPUs, and I will write this down and put it on the video, and their GPUs are extremely different in cores, and this is why games like Battlefield are running at 900p on the PS4, but 720p on the Xbox One, because it just can't take it. And this is as well a little bit of a rant, but not fully, if you see what I'm saying. So basically, if I just find Xbox One and PS4 GPU comparison, here we go, because I am using a brilliant Google. Yeah, let's try and find one. So the Wii U doesn't, and I love my Wii U, I have, but it doesn't really compare that with the in specifications wise to the Xbox One and PS4. Games wise it does, but in specification wise it doesn't. So if you give me a minute, guys, I have just got to find this. GPUs. I'll try and find it on Wikipedia, which I know I shouldn't really. But it is the easiest place to find. It does say on Wikipedia it has problems. It doesn't know. Sorry, that with what's the word I'm looking for? With the CPU for the PS4, but it was published somewhere else that it is a 1.7 gigahertz or 1.8 gigahertz for each one. So yeah. So don't really use Wikipedia if you can. If you have to, sorry, then yeah. But if you can, if you don't really have to, then yeah, don't use it. Right, and of course this isn't going to have GPU specifications. I'll try and, hold on guys, I am trying to find this, so it's been a bit difficult to try and find it. Is that CPUs? Yes. If it is, I obviously will admit if I'm wrong. That my Xbox One does have if it does have a better CPU, then yeah, I'll hold my hands up and say yeah, I'm wrong. And it does look like I am wrong. I do apologise, guys. There, that is my fault. I thought that did say a question mark when I looked, but basically then, let me just correct my mistake. Is that the Xbox One is powerfuler. It has two advantages then of the CPU. The Xbox One has 1.75 gigahertz, while the PS4 is 1.6 gigahertz, not 6 gigahertz. So yeah, fair enough. Let me just write this down so I can add it in the video. Fair enough. That is an advantage the Xbox One does have. It doesn't have very many, in my opinion, and like specification wise, but that is one. 1.6 gigahertz, but the GPU is a bit of a different story. If I can find it. Basically, this is the second and only one I think that the Xbox One has an advantage over the PS4 with. It is an APU if you're wondering, it's not classed as, it's in the same die pretty much. If you don't know what an APU is, I'll try and put a link in the description for you. Basically, the Xbox One, if I can find it on this page, it should say, has 12 compute units. So let me just write that down. 12 compute units, not compete, and has 768 shader processors. So let's see. Now, compared to the PS4, let's compare this, and this is honest truth, guys. I would put my links in the description that I've looked at. This is honest truth and fact. You can look yourself if you don't believe me. I know there's probably some people that think, well, no, he's not telling the truth. It is the truth. Right, so basically, the PS4, though, has 18 compute units and 1,152 shaders. Yes, that is a huge difference. This is why the PS4 has the advantage with, like, third party games like Battlefield, etc. Let me just write that down. And it has 18 compute units. Oh, 18 compute units at 1152 shaders. Right, which means, in short, the PS4 GPU is on paper 50% more powerful than the Xbox One. But the Xbox One does have a higher GPU clock speed, which might, and I can't read that word, but it's saying some of the difference. But the PS4's 50% higher compute unit count is a serious advantage for Sony. And obviously now the 10% that was reserved for the Kinect's gone, but you know what I mean there. Oh, excuse me, sorry guys. They're both based on Graphics Core Next, which is named the Architecture, I think it is, Architecture, yeah. And there's support OpenGL 4.3, OpenGL I think that's 1.2, and DirectX 3D 11.2. Right, that's basically, if we go to the RAM now, which is another advantage, and this is bandwidth, guys. As you all know, they both have 8 gigabytes of RAM. So you think, well, some people might think, well, yeah, it's gonna have better RAM, isn't it? That is not totally true. If I can find it, if you give me a minute, I probably won't find it now. Whereas, right, the Xbox One has 32 megabytes of super fast embedded SRAM, about 102 gigabytes a second in each direction, for a total of 204 gigabytes a second of bandwidth. If this ESRAM is used properly as a cache, it'll make a huge difference in the system. And I now can't find what I was looking for. 2 seconds. Let me just sort this out. Something just popped up. Hold on, guys. I will find it. Let me just check how long this has gone on for. Right. Xbox One RAM bandwidth, and this is both PS4 and Xbox One. They do share similar CPU specs and stuff like that. Right, the PS4 does have 256 megabytes of DDR3 RAM for background tasks. So this is like tasks in the background. This doesn't like go for games in the OS. It then has 8 gigabytes of DDR5, which 1 gigabyte is stored for the OS. So that means it has 7 gigabytes for the games on PS4. Whereas the Xbox One on the other hand, it still has 8, but it has DDR3. So it has a bit slower. I can't say too much on that because I don't really know that much on the DDRs yet and stuff like that. But it has 3 gigabytes. The Xbox One is reserved for its OS, so that means it only has 5 gigabytes for its game. I would say that is a bit of a disadvantage to it, because eventually they're going to run out of RAM, and it will obviously become worse to try and develop on it, etc. Yeah, I would say pretty much it does that, and I can't seem to find the actual frequency, but I'm sure the frequency for the Xbox One was about 2000 megahertz. It might have been 2400, whereas the PS4's was 5000 something. So yeah, I've got to admit there is a bit of a slight advantage there for the PS4. Personally, I would say the PS4 is the powerfuler console, and this is being proved in games like Battlefield 4, Assassin's Creed, which run at 900p, whereas on the 900p on the PS4, but 720p on the Xbox One, etc. And as well, obviously, the teraflops that the PS4 has over the Xbox One, which it does have a performance advantage. So I will detail this in the video, guys, what I've done. I will get my links and put them in there for you. So I'm going to say thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little explaining episode of the Xbox One and PS4 specifications.